What's going on, everyone? What's going on? It is Friday, January 23rd, 2026, and we are here for the weekly recap. Yes, I know I am doing it a day early, and it is a reason for that, but I'm going to get into that in a second. But before we get into everything, if you have not done so already, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are here. Hit the bell twice to receive notifications whenever I upload a new video or go live, or join the Discord and you should be notified in there. But shout out to everyone that is here, all the mods, all the members, everyone in the Discord, and everybody over there on Patreon. And if you are on Patreon, then you know that you will be receiving a video this evening, so be on the lookout for that. But before we get into everything, let me acknowledge those who are here in the chat now or came in early. We got Hurricane Nisi, Reparations Nation, Lana L, Anita Harrell, Dimpleface, SD Johnson, Boilermaker, Joseph Washington, Wallow J, be moving's first or last. We got Pam in here. We got Zoo Tours, Kind Equation Arts, Don P, Gamers Den, Mr. Williams, Iron Will, and U1026. Shout out to everyone that is in here. Now, the reason why I'm going live today to do the weekly recap instead of Saturday or tomorrow is because I have to get up early and go and do some last minute shopping before this big storm hits us. As many of y'all already know and who have been following news, on the East Coast, we are about to get slammed by what they call a historical snowstorm. And it's supposed to come in tomorrow evening and run all the way through Monday. So we going to be snowed in for a couple days. So I have to make sure to get any last things that I need. And I couldn't do the live tomorrow because that will, of course, be a hindrance. When I say I got to get up early, I'm talking about be out of here almost as soon as the sun comes up. So, and, get the Costco, because that's one of the main stores I got to hit. And hopefully I can get what I need, because I know people have been swiping stuff at these stores like crazy these last couple of days. So, you got to be prepared and everything like that, because I don't think we've had a big storm like this since 2016. It's been about a decade. So got to make sure take care of all of that, which is why I am doing the weekly recap today. I actually might start doing the weekly recaps again on Fridays like I used to do, but it would have to be on a Friday that I'm available, like today, of course. Some Fridays I might work, so I won't be able to do them on those Fridays, and of course I'll have to do them on Saturdays, but I'll let y'all know. So that's why we're doing it today. And I'm sure there are several people in the chat right now who are going to be affected by this storm. All I got to do is stay safe. When it starts snowing, make sure y'all stay off the roads. I actually got an email from my gym that said that they're closing the gym early tomorrow and they won't be opening back up until further notice. Also, from my job, there was an event that was supposed to happen tomorrow. I wasn't working it anyway, but they had to postpone it because of the storm coming. So people are taking this seriously, which I'm glad they are. But if you're not, I don't know what to tell you. Gamers, it's funny you say that, Gamers, because I actually do got to get some Kodiak pancake. I have a whole list of things I got to get between Costco and Wally World tomorrow. So when I tell you I got to get up at the crack of dawn, I mean just that. I got to be out of here at least no later than 8 o'clock, so I can get to these stores early, because I already know that these stores are going to be packed. I just have the strongest feeling that's what it's going to be. But it is what it is. But now that we've gone through all of that, now we can go ahead and get into the live. And I actually have two good stories to kick us off. And one of them involves someone that we all know personally. And I have to give a huge shout out and a congratulations to this individual. And that person being KG. In case y'all don't know, KG does some screenwriting on the side outside of what he does on here, and of course him being a chef and all that type of stuff. He also does screenwriting. Well, he had posted this up on his Twitter page yesterday, where he's a part of this screenplay competition where he wrote with what he wrote. He is now a quarter finalist in this competition. Now, I know KG is not in the chat right now, but make sure y'all, whenever y'all see him, just to congratulate him. I know he posted this up on his community tab, but you know, if you see him in passing, to make sure y'all go ahead and congratulate him, because I actually had an opportunity to read one of his scripts a while ago. I never told anybody until now. I won't even tell y'all what it's about because he probably doesn't want it out there. But man, when I was reading it, it read like a novel worth reading. That's all I'm going to say. If that was to actually transfer into a screenplay, to something that could be on the big or even the small screen, really, honestly, it could be something that could fit either streaming or the big screen. Either way, it was that good. It was very good. Like the third act was phenomenal. That's all I got to say. If y'all ever get a chance and opportunity to read it one day, you'll feel how I'm feeling. But either way, congratulations, KG. Hopefully it can go even further, because I don't know how many people he's in competition with, but you got to be in competition with a lot of people, and they must have really loved yours in order for it to get this far. So congratulations to him. And while we're also on the subject of film, I'm sure many of you already know by now, but in case y'all have been living under a rock, the Oscar nominations went out yesterday, and Sinners got or received a record-breaking 16 nominations, making it the most nominated film of all time in Oscar history. And it is the most Oscar-nominated horror film of all time, which is interesting because the Oscars does not like horror films like that. They really don't. It's a lot of horror films that have come out over the years that I felt should have got nominated, Smile 2 being one of them. But they don't get a lot of love like that because it's considered low tier type of like film. But apparently the people over there loved it so much, it got 16 Oscar nominations, including, I think they got a nomination in every category that they could possibly get a nomination in, as far as everything goes. But for me personally, the one that really surprised me was Delroy Lindo's nomination. Because when I saw that movie last year, I said, if they don't nominate him for Best Supporting Actor, that would be a crime, because he was one of the best parts of that movie. And when I saw his name pop up, my jaw hit the floor. I was legit shocked by that he got it, but he got it. So congratulations to him. Of course, this is just a nomination. We'll have to see how everything turns out when the actual awards happens, which will be in March. I think March 15th. Oh, Mr. Williams, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's going to segue into my next portion that's attached to this. Matt Walsh, the king of whiny white men, Walsh, as I like to call him, that is my new nickname for him. He decided that he was going to post this up yesterday, and he reposted this quote from Discussing Film that says Sinners has broken history as the most nominated film of all time at the Oscars with 16 nominations. And of course, the king of whiny white men, Matt Walsh, had to keep, he had to open his mouth, because whenever it involves Black people as a collective, he has to always have something to say. He said, it's like when everyone pretended that Black Panther was some kind of cinematic masterpiece. Everyone knows what's going on here. Almost all of the praise is exclusively because of the Black cast and director. Easily one of the most overrated movies ever made. I have the strongest feeling Matt Walsh didn't even watch this movie, and if he did, he probably saw it through the same lens that Stevie Knight did. Remember, this is the same guy that did a whole hour-long so-called review of the Sonic 3 movie 2 years ago. A children's movie, or family film. So already I can't take this take seriously. I wonder if Matt Walsh even saw the other movies that's in the same categories as Sinners to even make a statement like this. And even if he did, I still wouldn't take it seriously, because we already know what it is. And Matt Walsh is the type of person that will sit up there and lie and say that he doesn't hate anybody or doesn't hate Black people, but then say stuff, but then 2 seconds later, he says something like this. And trust me when I tell you, the people are cooking him under that post, and rightfully so. Notice he went back to Black Panther, the first Black Panther, when he said this, which ironically Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan were a part of. Matt Walsh will forever be a hater because everything that he does is mediocre. He's mad because this one film right here eclipses every little thing he's ever done in his tiny little career. A lot of these individuals who hate like this wish they could make it in Hollywood, but they don't have the talent to do it. Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, Tiny Terry, all of them have IMDb accounts, by the way, and they can't make it, so they have to hate on those who know how to do it and how to get it done. So I guess Matt is going to be, if let's hypothetically say Sinners wins, let's say, I'm going to just say 13, which will be a good number, 13 Oscars. He'll be right back on here to write up his little excerpt. Then he might turn his camera on and do a whole hour-long video about why Oscars is DEI or Sinners was overrated or something along those lines. And by the way, a little tidbit. The Oscar committee a couple years ago, they had it in a clause. They put a clause in that says they have to watch every movie that is nominated before they can make their decision. So many people are thinking that's probably why Sinners got all these nominations, because they have to watch the movies, because there was a thing where there was putting stuff out there that they weren't watching the movies, which is why a lot of movies got snubbed. A lot of good ones, rather. But now they put a requirement in the clause that says you have to watch the movie before you make a vote. SD Johnson says if Sinners wins one, oh, you already know. If they win one award, Matt gonna be up there having something to say. And what I like about this is that in every category the movie is nominated in, it's not competing with itself. So it's 16 nominations, but they're in their own individual categories. Like, they're not competing with each other. Like, you might have two actors that might be in the same category, but they're in the same movie. They're not doing that, which I'm glad they're not doing it, because that would split the win if there's a win to be had. But yeah, that's Matt Walsh doing his usual thing. I mean, this is an individual that's going to forever be miserable. You know, they say misery loves company. He is definitely living in that land all to himself. Kind Equation says, notice how none of the Griffiths didn't talk about. Of course they didn't. What's his name? Critical Drinker was one of them. He talked about it on his backup page, the one that people don't really know about. Because they had nothing to say. They couldn't critique it the way they wanted to. This is why this is the best Matt Walsh could have did with this post right here, and that's why people are clowning him under it. But that's all right. It is what it is. But I just wanted to go over those two things. So shout out and congratulations to KG on his screenwriting, competition, endeavors. And also shout out to the cast and crew of Sinners for their record-breaking 16 Oscar nominations. I'm sure the world will be watching in a couple of months. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty of it all. We got this first story right here coming out of Fort Hood. Fort Hood sergeant facing state and federal charges in child abuse case. Let's see what they're talking about. Hold on, y'all. This damn thing keeps getting on my nerves every time I try to share the screen and the sound want to go out. I don't know what that's about. I think that's a StreamYard thing, honestly. All right, let's get to it.
A Fort Hood sergeant is charged with aggravated assault at the state and federal level.
This comes after a neighbor's Ring camera video circulated of him hitting a child. This has since sparked outrage across the community. The Waco Police Department identified the suspect as 29-year-old Paul Thames. They say Thames was caught on video beating a 3-year-old boy. Fort Hood officials have confirmed that he is a sergeant in the U.S. Army assigned to the 1st Cavalry Division at Fort Hood.
Officers were sent to the home of where the abuse happened Friday evening and said the child was taken to the hospital and was later released. Police found the video on a neighbor's doorbell. Earlier today, 6 News spoke with the boy's grandmother.
Definitely shocked because, I mean, you wouldn't expect someone, number one, you're a soldier in the United States Army. You've taken an obligation to protect and serve, and you also sat in my presence and guaranteed me that my grandson and his mother were safe with you. I made sure to meet him before they moved away with him. So, yeah, definitely didn't expect this at all.
We will hear more from her tonight at 10. On the federal charge that Thames is facing, the U.S. Army Office of Special Trial Counsel tells 6 News that it is investigating the case against Sergeant Thames, but no decisions have been made on whether they will handle the prosecution or if it will be handled on Fort Hood. Thames is also facing a charge of aggravated assault with injury to a child at the state level in McLennan County. Hart said that from what the eye can see, he is not bruised, but from a medical standpoint, there was evidence of bruising and scarring on that little boy.
For those of y'all who are subscribed to my Patreon, these type of stories are flourishing over there. And the crazy part about it is this is only just a tease. Actually, this is tame compared to the stuff you'll see over on Patreon. Shout out to everyone over there. Because it's crazy. I always say, if you bring harm to a kid in any capacity like this, you deserve everything that's coming your way wherever you land. Whatever prison you end up in, that you're going to get exactly what you deserve. And what's going on to me, because I'm glad that you are here. Whatever happens to you, it's in their hands now. Your fate is in their hands. As far as I'm concerned, only 29 years old. Now your whole life is thrown away. But you want to know if there is ever a story that involves a child that does need to get punished, is this one right here. Check this out, y'all. Y'all ain't gonna believe this.
Lori, 11-year-old Clayton William Dietz, just hours after his birthday began, was looking for his Nintendo Switch gaming console that had been taken from him earlier, but found the keys to his dad's gun safe, and court documents say with intent to shoot his father. In those documents, they say the younger Dietz shot his father, 42-year-old Douglas Dietz, just hours after he and Clayton's mother sang Clayton happy birthday just after midnight. Douglas and a wife adopted Clayton in 2018, according to court documents that also say Douglas came to bed after his wife. The affidavit says she was woken up by a loud boom and tried waking Douglas up, but he was unresponsive. She later told police Clayton said to her, quote, "I killed my dad. I hate myself." When police went to talk to Clayton, troopers noticed a large bruise above his left eye and a cut on his bottom lip. The documents say Clayton admitted his dad told him to go to bed. He was mad at that and didn't think about what would happen after pulling the trigger.
First thing I think everybody thinks is, how does something like this happen?
I spoke with Cumberland County District Attorney Sean McCormack on the phone, who says he's never dealt with a case with someone so young before.
If someone is a juvenile, even down to 11 years old, and they commit a murder, and you charge them, you have no choice. You have to charge them as an adult.
He says for a case like this, the next step is the juvenile tries to decertify the case from adult court to juvenile court.
What you're looking for is a couple things. One, protection of society is balanced against the juvenile's mean ability to be rehabilitated in the juvenile system. There are a lot of factors that the court considers.
11-year-old Clayton Dietz now faces a charge of felony criminal homicide and is being charged, and as an adult, he is also being held in the Perry County Prison. In Perry County, AJ.
All right, so there you have it right there. And I had to highlight those two comments, the one that Dimpleface put about and to think he had a father in the home, because you always hear the stories, they like to try to come at black people. See, if you had a father in the home, then this wouldn't happen. I'm telling y'all, they're not beating those father in the home allegations when it comes to them, because it seems like every time they got a father in the home, something always happens. And then Dark Titan said they adopted Damien. Literally, when I was listening to this, that's what was coming to mind. I didn't want to stop the video to say it, but she said it for me. They literally adopted Damien Thorn. I'm sure if you clipped a couple of his hairs out of his scalp and look, there are 3 6s that are in a circle somewhere on his head, on his scalp. I mean, over a Nintendo Switch. It's, you know what, you want to know what's even crazy about this is the fact that he went and shot and killed his adopted father in the bed while he was laid next to the mother. He didn't do this like while the father was alone. He did this while the mother was laid next to him sleeping. He said, I'm going to traumatize everybody. He said, I'm going to traumatize you. And he did. No remorse. I guess the good thing that's coming out of this is that they said they're charging him as an adult with, with a lot of felonies. So that means he's locked up right now in this juvenile center. They ain't letting him out. So I guess we'll see. Your children of the corn. Yep. Dimple face new meaning to problem child. Oh, I think he might got Junior beat. At least Junior didn't kill anybody. Ashley said they pulled a Pilgrim turn on the people who took you in. Right. A Nintendo Switch, y'all. That's crazy. But again, like they don't want to tell, they want to say that we raise bad kids. Here's the thing. There are bad parents there are bad kids in every group. To try to limit it only to black kids is crazy. Now, speaking of Matt Walsh, you ain't gonna see Matt Walsh talking about this, and I know we ain't gonna talk about it. You know how I know? Because this story came out last week. I just didn't get an opportunity to talk about it. And he didn't talk about it, but he wanted to get up there and cry about DEI and sinners. Let's move on to the next story. Of course, y'all know I got another ICE story. I think we're going to be having ICE stories in here for quite some time, y'all. And this one is no different. So check this out. Contracted ICE employee pleads guilty to sexual abuse of a female detainee. Why am I not surprised? A former employee contracted by the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, at a detention center in Louisiana has pleaded guilty to sexually abusing a Nicaraguan woman who was a detainee on multiple occasions over the span of a number of months. David Courvelle has been charged with a single count of sexual abuse of a ward or individual in federal custody, which entails a maximum prison sentence of 15 years and a fine of up to $250,000. The abuse occurred at the South Louisiana ICE Processing Center in Basel, where Courvelle was tasked with supervising, disciplining, and maintaining the custody of detainees, according to a U.S. District Court, Western District of Louisiana document. Court documents details that Courvelle engaged in a relationship with the aforementioned detainee beginning on January 1st, 2025. The detainee who Courvelle had authority and control over was being held because of immigration-related matters. From May until July in 2025, Courvelle and the detainee engaged in sexual contact on multiple occasions. This sexual contact occurred during their personal and romantic relationship and was not forced. During this time period, Courvelle smuggled gifts like food, jewelry, letters, and pictures of the detainee's daughter into the detention center and gave them to the detainee. When initiating sexual encounters in order to avoid detection, Courvelle arranged other detainees to serve as lookouts who watch for anyone that might come near or disrupt physical encounters, according to the documents. In July 2026, detention center staff, I think they meant to say 2025. Hold on, y'all. In July 2025, detention center staff saw Courvelle and the detainee emerging from a janitory closet after a sexual encounter. Courvelle was immediately transferred to a different unit, and on July 30th, he resigned from his position after learning that detention center management had acquired recording of calls between him and the detainee. In September, he participated in a voluntary interview with ICE Office of the Inspector General agents and denied romantic and sexual encounters with the detainee before admitting that he had relations with the person, according to a court document. He has since been released from custody on a $10,000 bond and has a sentencing date scheduled for April 10th. The case involving Courvelle surfaced weeks after a coalition of civil rights organizations filed federal complaints against the South Louisiana ICE Processing Center on behalf of 4 detained individuals who were subjected to sexual, physical, and verbal abuse, as well as retaliation, abusive implementation of solitary confinement, and medical neglect by detention center officials. This dude had a whole thing going on with this person that, of course, went to something else. She probably is still locked up, Dimple Face. That's why, and I think I had said this before, but in case y'all didn't hear it, have y'all noticed that most ICE agents happen to be PC? I have yet to see one black ICE agent, whether man or woman. Y'all let me know. Have y'all seen on the news or any videos that you've probably seen on social media? Have y'all seen a black ICE agent yet? Because I have yet to see one. And now I read somewhere, and this recently came out, that they are now allowing them to just go into people's homes unwarranted. Let me see if I can pull that up. All right, let me pull this up so y'all can see this. And this is coming out at NBC Chicago. Hold on, y'all. Let me pull this over here and share this. Hold on, y'all. Just doing that thing again. All right.
Tonight, the NBC Chicago investigative team has obtained an internal government memo that authorizes federal immigration agents to enter your home without a search warrant.
Critics have said ICE is violating the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution that protects against unreasonable search and seizure. Our investigative reporter Chuck Gowdy is here with the very latest controversy at an embattled agency now. Chuck?
Stephan, Allison, unlike other law enforcement agencies that typically obtain a warrant to enter private homes, tonight, a written directive from ICE allows for their house call to come without a court order or a judge's approval. This picture is what these warrantless house calls look like. A heavily armed team led by an agent with a rapid assault breaching tool, commonly known as a battering ram, a practice that tonight is raising complaints of constitutional violations. What critics call cowboy tactics have been seen from Chicago to Los Angeles and Minneapolis to Portland as part of the administration's illegal immigration offensive. Unless lives are in immediate danger, warrantless door-breaking raids have been unconstitutional since the Fourth Amendment was ratified 235 years ago.
The Constitution was all about a reaction to what the British had done to the colonists. The British soldiers had gone into colonist homes, arrested people without any process. The Bill of Rights, the Fourth Amendment, was a direct reaction to that.
Former Chicago federal prosecutor Ron Safer tonight says this ICE directive in place since last May can't legally circumvent the Constitution. The memo made public by whistleblowers inside ICE instructs federal officers that they don't need a signed court order to go into private homes of a person already designated as an undocumented immigrant, that agents are just carrying out an administrative function.
Our understanding is that you can enforce the immigration laws of the country under an administrative order if you have an administrative warrant. That's what we think. That's our understanding of the law.
Yeah, the Constitution says otherwise.
Safer, a regular NBC Chicago legal analyst, tonight says this ICE memo prescribing forcible entry is instructing agents to violate the Constitution.
If these people had committed crimes, they would go to a judge. It's very easy. You go to a judge. All you need is probable cause. You don't need proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
Most immigration law in our country is not done through the criminal system with the judge. It's done through the administrative law system. We're going to continue that practice just as they did in the Biden administration or any other administration.
For years, the recommendation from immigration attorneys has been that people simply shouldn't open their doors if authorities show up without a warrant. Ron Safer tonight says that is still the advice, even if it results in federal agents ramming down the door. When this tactic eventually lands in front of the Supreme Court, Safer believes justices will side with the original wisdom of the Constitution.
All right, so there it is, y'all. That just came out like yesterday. This was reported yesterday. For many of y'all, this might be your first time seeing this. And yes, I did hear about that the 5-year-old. That's crazy too. Apparently it was a 5-year-old that I'm gonna put this in air quotes, kidnapped. And that's another story that's flying over social media now too. And that just happened, I think, yesterday too. But I think the story came out today. Yeah, and remember what I told y'all last week in the weekly recap that I did last week? I said ICE started out on its foundation as going after illegal immigrants, but I have a feeling that it's going to spill over into something more reckless. And that was coming after the story of the family out there in Minnesota that was trying to get home from their son's football practice or football game. And there was almost a casualty involving a 6-month-old child with that tear gas. Now you have this and the one with the 5-year-old boy. Then, of course, there's other incidents that happened around the establishment as well. So I feel like a week later, my theory is starting to ramp up. But we'll see. We'll see where it is just a couple months down the line. But let's move on to the next story. Now, this is a story that's more of an update to us, one I talked about last year, but I said, let me go ahead and just talk about it in the live. Who remembers this 10-year-old boy named Jordan Hill who was killed in this hit and run accident last year by this white guy named Cody Rollinson? Who remembers that story? And it happened in Mississippi. Well, surprise, surprise, in true Operation Protect the White Boy, he was acquitted for what he did. He will not serve any jail time for this. It said he was acquitted of all charges in the death of Jordan Hill, despite admitting that he fled the scene. And also, it said it was video showing him spitting toward the grieving family after he was acquitted. Man, listen, I can't say on here what I would have did if I was his family member. It said a Mississippi man walked free last week after a jury found him not guilty in the deadly hit and run crash that killed a 10-year-old black boy and was captured on video spitting toward the victim's family just before the verdict was read. Cody Rollinson was acquitted on January 15th of aggravated, how ironic, on January 15th. Of aggravated DUI and felony fleeing without rendering aid in connection with the April 6, 2025 crash that killed Jordan Hill in Liberty, Mississippi. Hill, who was riding an ATV in a grassy area on the side of the road, died at the scene after being struck by Rollinson's pickup truck. In the moments before the not guilty verdict was announced, a video circulating online shows Rollinson being escorted through the Amite County Courthouse parking lot when someone off camera asked if he has anything to say to the family. Witnesses say Rollinson responded by spitting in the direction of Hill's relatives. Justice for Jordan, a woman can be heard yelling, "He spit on the family, there is no remorse." The fact that this guy did this and he admitted to what he did, and then he spat at the family before the verdict was read and they still found him not guilty. Y'all, this is what we be talking about all the time when we be saying white privilege. But leave it to the ones, the dunce cap wearing ones, they only think privilege means money. This is what we're talking about right here. This is exactly what we're talking about. And they want to say that white supremacy is over and it's not a real thing. Then you got those tap dancing buffoons that's echoing it too. What do you call this? To the Hodge twins, since y'all want to peddle that narrative, what do you call this? They'll find something to call it. It'll be ridiculous, but they're going to come up with a name for it. Rollison admitted he left the crash site, but claimed he did so because he didn't have cell service to call 911. I don't believe that crap. He said he was arrested later and released on a $41,000 bond prior to trial. After deliberating for about an hour, juries cleared him of both charges. The verdict has devastated Hill's family. Wanda Brown, the boy's mother, told WLBT that she was shocked by the outcome, saying the evidence presented in court didn't support such a result. She says, I just felt that this justice system here has just failed us. Well, unfortunately, Ms. Brown, you have now joined the unfortunate long laundry list of those parents, those mothers who have not or may not receive justice for the loss of their loved one at the hands of a demon. Or should I say the wheels of one? Family members and supporters have raised questions about the investigation and trial process. A Change.org petition circulated by a family friend claims there was no skid marks at the scene, suggesting Rollison did not slow before striking Hill. A family spokesperson, Marquel Bridges, has described the boy's death as a hate crime rather than an accident. After the verdict, Hill's relatives also alleged that some jurors had prior knowledge of the case and should have been disqualified, though this claim has not been independently confirmed. Hill's sister, Mariah Woodward, said the family plans to keep Jordan's story alive on social platforms to ensure the case isn't forgotten. You want to know what's so crazy? You want to know why this story got buried the way that it did? And like, it's one of the things that if you blink, you would have missed it, because this was coming off of the heels of the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf story, because that's all the news kept talking about, because that happened like a few days before this happened, like right at the beginning of April, and then this happened a few days later. But because of everything going on with Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, this story got lost in the shuffle quickly, very quickly. The next story I want to hear involving Cody Rollison is that someone got to him. Someone or someone's got to him. I mean, like literally, he was able to walk scot-free. That right there is why I do those Operation Protect the White Boy videos. This one right here. But I want to switch it up a little bit, y'all. I want to switch it up because we went over, people receiving rewards. And speaking of awards, shout out to KG. KG just came into the chat. Hey, KG, you were the first story of the day on your screenwriting achievements. When you've been in that competition, you were the very first thing we talked about. You have to go back and hear the playback, but you were the first one we talked about, and we gave you congratulations and all types of stuff and whatnot. But I want to switch it up a little bit, because there is this story right here that I have been dying to talk about. And I feel it's only fitting that we play the proper intro for it. Now, y'all know I wasn't about to not do this live, or should I say I wasn't going to do this live and not talk about what happened with Jake Lang. Look at this picture right here, y'all. Look at it. I feel like by now, many of y'all already have seen the video of what happened to Jake Lang when he went out there to Minneapolis. He looked so pathetic out there. I mean, Jake Lang going out there doing what Jake Lang does, going out there to provoke and antagonize a group of people that already don't like him. And I guess this is his way of, seeking clout and attention as usual. But this time they really dragged him through the street. I mean, this was worse than Cersei getting shamed in Game of Thrones. For those of y'all who have watched Game of Thrones, y'all know exactly what episode and scene I'm talking about. So it says anti-ICE rally chases off U.S. far-right influencer Jake Lang in Minneapolis. And of course, he's going to do the same usual thing, get on social media and talk about how much of a victim he was. It says about 10 people had gathered for Lang's anti-Islam, anti-Somali, and pro-ICE demonstration at City Hall. 10 people. This was probably less than the amount of people that went to his anti-white guilt or whatever nonsense he had last year following the Carmelo Anthony Austin Metcalf situation down there in Texas. Ordered that parking lot in that large stage only for like 3 people to show up. It says hundreds of people protesting against the United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, have chased off a small group of people led by far-right influencer Jake Lang, who had announced a march on a predominantly immigrant neighborhood. Tension soared in the city, already on edge after a mother of 3, Renee Nicole Good, was killed by a federal agent, followed by the shooting of a Venezuelan immigrant a week later. Waving signs and screaming chants calling for ICE and Border Patrol agents to leave Minneapolis, the protesters gathered downtown near City Hall on Saturday. Lang, one of more than 1,500 people pardoned by Trump after their criminal convictions related to the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol, organized what he called an anti-fraud rally. About 10 people showed up for Lang's anti-Islam, anti-Somali, and pro-ICE demonstration, while hundreds of counter-protesters converged at the site, yelling over his attempts to speak and chasing away his supporters within the hour to a nearby hotel. A few scuffles broke out, but the Reuters news agency did not observe any serious violence. I'm laughing because they said we didn't see nothing. They probably like we didn't see nothing while breaking the fourth wall while saying it. It says later Lang posted on X that he was stabbed during a scuffle, but that his protective vest blocked the attempt. Reuters cannot verify his account. Minneapolis police said in an email to Reuters that they were aware of Lang's social media posts, but no official report has been filed with the department. Police said they had received no reports of injuries related to the protests from victims. Protests have been taking place daily since the Department of Homeland Security ramped up immigration enforcement in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul by bringing in more than 2,000 federal officers. I don't think it's anything else related to Jake Lang in the article, but yeah. What's interesting about this is that Jake Lang was being protected by a black man, and he is very off code. You better check the paperwork. The same people that he likes to call the N-word, because he did say or call them people out there N-word lovers. I saw that clip. I do not feel bad for the likes of Jake Lang. And I remember the video I was saying, them people was literally dragging him up out of there. He went out there looking like a wet cigarette, and then he got in the car. But before that car door could close, it was one guy, he was delivering them kicks like he was Chun-Li from Street Fighter. He must have kicked them at least 10 times before they could get the door closed. KG said allegedly the driver was trans. I think I heard about that, and they did a story about it too. Like a little write-up about it. But see, this goes back to the narrative that I've always said. They love to say how violent black people are. They don't want to go in black people's neighborhoods because it's nothing but a bunch of crime, yet they'll find their way over there to push a narrative. But the people that did this to Jake Lang were not black. The one that was protecting them happened to be, like, until further notice, when we check that paperwork. He's lucky that black man was there. Because if that black man was not there, Jake Lang probably would be in a hospital somewhere. Like literally probably in a full body cast. But he's going to go out there and be a provocateur again because he has to. This is what he's known for doing. He's literally having to take the lumps, literally and figuratively, because that's all he has. No one's taking Jake Lang seriously. AKG, didn't he go kiss the wall? I think he did. Zimbleface says after it happened, he was talking smack with Alex Jones. Surprise, surprise. I'm telling you, when you recognize who these white supremacists are and how they operate, nothing they do will remotely surprise you. Like, you can literally call it down the middle. He said he hasn't learned his lesson, and he won't. He won't learn his lesson, just like Charlie Kirk didn't learn his lesson. And you see what happened to him. He literally went into eternity without learning his lesson. And if Jake Lang continues, the same probably will happen with him. Of course he didn't, Sandra. Of course he didn't thank the black man. He wasn't about to do that. That's why we were so mad that black man was out there giving him cover, being his shield. He said he's suing the government for billions over January 6th. Yeah, good luck with that. Like, that's going to happen. Okay. All right, let's move on to this last story. And this one just happened today. Remember how I said that Trump removing MLK and Juneteenth from the national parks discount day was going to spill over into other things? You may or may not have taken me seriously when I said that, maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago. But check this out. This is in Philadelphia, by the way. Philadelphia sues over removal of slavery exhibit. Outraged critics are accusing President Donald Trump of quote-unquote whitewashing history after the National Park Service removed an exhibit on slavery at Philadelphia's Independent National Historical Park. Outraged critics accused Donald Trump of whitewashing history on Friday after the National Park Service removed an exhibit on slavery at Philadelphia's Independence National Historical Park in response to his executive order of restoring truth and sanity to American history. Loosely translated, make America white again. Mawa. On display at the nation's museums, parks, and landmarks. Empty bolts, holes, and shadows are all that remains on the brick walls where explanatory panels were displayed at the president's house site where George and Martha Washington lived with the people they owned as property during the years when Philadelphia was the nation's capital. One woman cried silently at their absence. Someone left a bouquet of flowers. A hand-lettered sign said slavery was real. Crews on Thursday removed the exhibit, which included the names and other biographical details about the 9 people enslaved by the Washingtons at the presidential mansion. Their names remain engraved on a cement wall at the entrance. Seeking to stop the display's permanent removal, the city of Philadelphia on Thursday sued Interior Secretary Doug Burgum and acting National Park Service Director Jessica Bowen. The panels came down because Trump's order requires federal agencies to review interpretive materials to ensure accuracy, honesty, and alignment with shared national values, an Interior Department statement said. It called the city's lawsuit frivolous, aimed at demeaning our brave founding fathers who set the brilliant road map for the greatest country in the world. I'm not reading no more of this. I mean, it's pretty obvious what it is. And you want to know what irony is? They doing all of this right on the heels of Black History Month. I can only imagine what nonsense they're going to pull for the entire month of February. Well, that was the last story. And there is the link. If anybody would like to come up and speak, feel free to do so. Let me turn my timer on and we can go ahead and get it started. Waller, what's going on?
What's going on, Torrin? What's going on, everybody in the chat? Congratulations to Sinners, because that movie, man, I ain't gonna know it was gonna get 16, but I'm glad that they're giving it the recognition it deserves because that was like probably that was to me the best move of the year. If I stated multiple times. So congratulations to Sanders. Also, Jake Lane. Count your days, buddy, because that right there should let you know people don't like you, people don't respect you, people don't care about you. You see what happened to your boy. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen one day. You keep messing with people and keep pushing the stuff you pushing, just like what happened to them. I know you heard what happened to the the guys down there in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I almost incorporated that into this live, but I said it's so many moving parts that if I do speak about it, if I have the mental bandwidth to do so, that would have to be a whole separate live to itself. Because I couldn't, because that's a lot. That's a lot of ground to cover. But there's been a lot of people that I've been watching who have been covering that for the last couple of days, and they are pathetic.
Shout out to Drew Almighty. I saw that. Yeah,
I mean, to the highest extent. I mean, to the epitome of it.
It's how can you hate, you dunk on black people, but you go to the club to go listen to black music? Make that
and a band song, might I add.
A band song got the DJ and the bouncer fired for letting you get in and for you playing the song. Make that make sense.
And then Sneeko, he ended up getting banned practically from
all of them
everywhere.
All of them got banned out. They can't go nowhere in Miami. That's on them. But I'll land my plane there.
Thanks for coming up, Wallow. All right, next we got Pam. What's going on, Pam? Your mic is muted.
Nothing much. How you doing? Just want to say be careful up there. If you can go shopping as early as you can, because they snatching stuff off the stores. But I just wanted to just talk about Sinners and all of their nominations. I'm curious to what you think is how many do you think that they will receive? I think that all of those that they're going to receive are going to be in what I call like the back end, the cinematography and all of those things. I don't think that they're I want them to, but as far as like the director, go ahead.
I think he's going to get screenplay for sure, original screenplay for sure.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely. I think that's a lock-in for him. I want them to get cinematography because that juke joint scene. Oh my god! When I saw that scene, I said, "Oh!" I immediately said cinematography. Like literally, that's what came to mind for me. I'm still shocked with the Delroy Lindo nomination.
I remember you saying that, and I was like, "You did say that." But I'm happy for him. I mean, he gets a nomination because that man has been acting his tail off for as long as I can remember. He's always been supporting actor with some leading roles, but he's always given stellar performances to me. But that's all I wanted to say. All that other stuff with these people and in this ICE agency and all that other stuff. I don't have the bandwidth to talk about that stuff. It just bothers my soul. So you stay safe up there, and anybody else that's in that bad weather thing, y'all stay safe, get your food, and I'll talk with y'all next week.
All right. Shout out to Pam for coming up. She does a lot of entertainment, news and everything like that. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to Pam Entertainment TV because she goes live often on her channel whenever there's like breaking news or entertainment news. And she definitely did talk about that. I wish I was available to be with her when she talked about those nominations because I definitely would have asked for the link. But shout out to Pam. All right, next up we got Jonathan. What's going on?
Oh, what's up, Tori? Well, man, I saw that Jake Lane video, man. My face couldn't stop smiling. I was so happy to see that dude give him what he deserved, and it was all smiles for me until the black dudes was protecting him, and this is what pisses me off in our community. We do throw the cape on for these folks, knowing that they will not show us that same energy if we were to be attacked that way, and I don't know why. We do it. Now, one of them gave the reason, talking about, we got to show love, we got to show God, we can't show hate and all that. And when I was hearing that black dude explaining his reason why he was protecting Jake Lang, I told him, man, shut your B word up. You know what I'm saying? Because that man would not do the same thing for you if you was in his shoes. If y'all was trading places, believe me, he would have watched you get beaten to a bloody pulp.
Somebody said that he went on Alex Jones and had an interview with him, and when Alex Jones brought up about the black guy that was saving him and everything like that, that Jake Lang just kind of brushed over it. I said, I'm not surprised. That's why I would not. If first off, I wouldn't have been out there. But secondly, if I was, it wouldn't be to protect no Jake Lang. I would have just backed up and let them handle him like they was doing.
And that's the problem. See, like Jake Lang ignoring the fact that a black person was saving him from getting a beat down, and like you saying, he would have been in the hospital. You know what I'm saying? We just got to start realizing that these folks just show us how ungrateful they are. You know what I'm saying? They always telling us all this BS, saying if you work hard instead of receiving money, if you stop accepting money and work hard for it, you'll deserve it. I was like, that's a myth too. You start protecting people, protect all races. Man, that's starting to become a myth. You know what I'm saying? Because by now, y'all, they should have been realized that they are not going to get that same energy. They haven't been getting that same energy. I'm looking at like nothing but fools out there doing all this for nothing, and it's really sad at this point. And as for that punk who spit on that family after he done killed that little boy on the hit and run, man, I wish that would have been me. Oh my God, I would have been in containment for 30 days. But I'm gonna land my plane. I had a rest today, no gym, so getting rest. See ya.
All right, appreciate you coming up. Walla, you didn't get what you hoped for. You missed it by 15 seconds. And you ain't about to get it with this one either.
Heed my command and reclaim these relics of hatred.
Miss Niecy, what's going on?
Hey, Tori, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I did my shopping earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Got my hair cut. Also, for the family on the East Coast, with the snow, ice, sleet, whatever's coming your way, and these frigid temperatures, drip your cold water faucet for the duration. The last thing you need is busted pipes. Plus, I just got my furnace replaced yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've been through this before. We know what to do. If you ain't got to go no damn where, don't go nowhere.
Exactly. Most places gonna be shut. Most places gonna be shut down anyway. So, like I said earlier in the live, I don't know if you caught it. I said I got an email from my gym. They said we closing the gym at 9:00 tomorrow, and they said we'll let you know when we open back up. So like it's like one of those things. Like it's a question mark when they open back. I said don't be in a rush. They're really calling for for me. I'm not sure where it's like for you, but I think where I'm at, they're calling between like 8 to 10 inches.
Well, they're calling for a 10.5 here in the Charleston area, but they don't know if it's going to be all snow or a mix. Whatever's coming, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah, I think ours is going to be it's going to be about like all snow, and then when it gets like towards the end, which will be on Monday, it's going to turn into freezing rain, like sleet.
Well, I think that's what they're calling for that here in the Charleston area too.
Mm-hmm.
And for us, it's going to start Saturday, going right into Monday morning. So my black ass will be sitting on my recliner. I ain't going nowhere. That's why I hold my vacation days. The weather's fucked up. I ain't going nowhere.
Same here.
So, the stories, not surprised. So I'm not going to comment. But we know reciprocity's coming.
Mm-hmm.
I'll land there, boo-boo. Be safe. Be careful. Love you.
Love you too. Appreciate you coming up, Miss Niecy. And I think Miss Niecy is probably the last person to come up and speak. Shout out to Wallow J. I didn't acknowledge this earlier, but he said, first off, shout out to you for being a member for 22 months. He said, stay inside, family, not our fight, not our problem. And that's referring to the Jake Lang story. Oh, trust and believe. You ain't got to worry about me going out there. But that is going to do it, y'all. We did this. We knocked out a weekly recap on a Friday evening. It's been a while since I've done a live like this on a Friday. So that means there won't be any commentaries tomorrow, because I try to keep it condensed to Monday through Friday. So the next video y'all will receive will be on Monday. We got another round of wild stories. I actually got to record a video once I get off of here because I saw something I got to talk about. I saw this pop up on Twitter. But y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Again, like Miss Nisi said, if y'all are on the East Coast, especially in the region I'm in, which is near where Miss Nisi is because she's a neighboring state, please, if you have nowhere to go, especially when this storm starts happening, do not risk it. We don't need to hear no stories of you drifting off and you landed in a ditch somewhere or you stuck somewhere or anything like that. If you got to go somewhere, do like I'm doing. You better get up early tomorrow before any flakes fall out of that sky, because whatever comes out of that sky is going to stick immediately on impact. So again, for all those on the East Coast like myself, please be safe because we gonna be dealing with this for the next 2.5 days. So with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Stay safe, stay warm, but most importantly, be one.